Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. Now, as you know, we are making our way through book reviews this week, which is, I normally only post 3 videos a week, but I read 6 books this week, and I know if I don't post the reviews for all of them this week, then they're never going to get posted, just 'cause I'm going to read more books next week, and then I'll post those reviews. So I'm going to, treat you guys to 6 YouTube videos this week, which is kind of insane. I know, but I read a lot of books. And the second book that I read this week is Soul Searching by Lyla Sage. Now, I first discovered Lyla Sage when I was doing some TikToking research on some cowboy romance, and I discovered her Rebel Blue Ranch series. And then I did hear her talk about Soul Searching because this is her latest release. I think it came out last fall. Let me see when it was published. Yeah, it came out in 2025, so I'm assuming last fall. And so she was promoting it, and she talked about how it takes place in Sweetwater Peak, because this is part of a duology, the Sweetwater Peak series. And I was like, oh, that was referenced in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. So I was like, I kind of like it when series are slightly interconnected, but also not. And so this one is. And so kind of why I was hesitant to pick it up was because it is under the paranormal activity theme, and I am not someone who believes in ghosts or any of that at all. I don't think they're real. I think kind of they're like a figment of our imagination, or they're fictitious. That is my personal opinion. But I still enjoyed it so much, and it was quite a refreshing read because I've been reading a lot of sports romance, or cowboy romance. I have read a couple more contemporary romances, but this one was definitely a departure from what I normally read, and it was so refreshing. And it was the first book I read this week that I finished in an under 24-hour period. I ate it up so quickly. I gave it 5 stars. So I just can't wait for the second book in this series, and I've also pre-ordered that book, so I can't wait to receive it in the fall when it comes out. Okay, so this book follows Collins Cartwright. She is she's like a famous photographer who has her work in a magazine. I want to flip through and find the page that mentions the magazine name. I know it has the word blue in geography in it, so it might be like the Blue National Blue Geographic or something like that. So she takes a lot of photos and they get put in the magazine, but then something happens basically, and her career kind of blew up, and people don't want to work with her. The magazine doesn't want to work with her anymore, and so she's basically broke, only has $300 to her name. She's coming back home, but she's also coming back home not under the guise that she's broke, but under the guise that basically her mother is thinking of maybe selling to a developer her antique shop, and a bunch of the property that they own. And she knows how much her sister cares about the antique shop and doesn't want a developer to buy the land up in Sweetwater Peak and just turn it into who knows what. So she ends up agreeing to come back and help with the fight. And by the way, she is a twin, so the second book in the series is going to follow her sister. So this is Brady Cooper. Brady Cooper actually is a city boy who broke off his engagement and comes to Sweetwater Peak after seeing some photos in a magazine. Wink, wink. I can't wink, so I'm just gonna be like, wink, wink. You'll see where this is going. And so basically, Collins does not want to sleep on her sister's couch or stay with her parents when she's back in town. So her sister knows about Brady Cooper, who is the local upholsterer, and is like, oh, if you work for him, he has a spare room and you can work for him for free, and then he'll let you stay in the spare room. And so basically they become roommates, and I'm a sucker for forced proximity where they cohabitate, because you get to see a lot more of the mundane moments, the domestic mundane moments that some people find mundane, but I don't. I eat up those little moments, and this one doesn't have a ton of them, but it still has some of those moments because, like I said, they are roommates. And so basically, how she meets Brady Cooper is her car breaks down, and I think she had no cell service where her car broke down. So her sister was worried about her, and her sister comes with Brady Cooper to find her, finds her car on the side of the road. Brady Cooper is the one that approaches her car, and she pepper sprays him without even asking who he is. She just opens the window and pepper sprays him. That's literally a very interesting way to meet somebody. And if they end up having kids in the future, I know it's fictional, what a fun story to say that you met their father by accidentally pepper spraying him. That's the first time you met him. Kind of funny. So basically, Brady Cooper kind of thinks Colin's a little bit weird because he thinks that she's like talking to herself or like talking to no one. And then at one point she's talking to the ghost, but he doesn't know that she can see, hear, normally hear and talk to ghosts. And so she just having like an argument, and he was like, that sounded like the phone, like wasn't a good phone call. And she goes, what phone call? And he was like, okay, she's a little weird. And then she ends up confessing to him that she can see ghosts and talk to ghosts, and that normally she can hear them, but it's been a while since she's been able to hear them. So, and she has like a blockage, or it's like a block. I don't know what the term is. I think it's a blockage, maybe. Um, so he's like, hey, I don't believe in ghosts, but I believe in you, and I believe in you when you say that you can see ghosts, normally hear them, and that you could talk to them. And so then throughout the book, like partway through the book, he's like, I actually will help you get through your blockage so that you can talk to them again and like hear them again. And so he does. And it's kind of so beautiful the way that he like falls in love with her. I think it's like a he falls first type of situation. Definitely like she's just like, she does not want to fall in love or like hook up with him, because she's like, she doesn't hook up with anyone in Sweetwater Peak. Also because she is thinking of going on the road again, and she just like doesn't stay in one place too long, especially because she's moved around a lot as like a photographer that like photographs like nature and all of that. And yeah, so she's like, I don't want to break, but she breaks her rule of no hooking up in Sweetwater Peak, and they fall in love. Also, he ends up learning that because he says he came to Sweetwater Peak after seeing beautiful photos in a magazine that just showed like the beautiful parts of Sweetwater Peak, and that's why he chose to come here. And then he ends up learning that she's the one that took the photos, and he's like, you brought me here. And that's when he tells her that he loves her, and it's like so cute. So this was a refreshing read, and like I said, I cannot wait for the second and final book in the duology to come out. And then afterwards, I am so curious about what else Lyla Sage is going to put out, because I have eaten up every Lyla Sage book, so I think she's going to be an auto-buy author. So yeah, that is all for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button so you never miss another brand new video from me. You can also follow me at RomanceBLVD on Instagram and Threads. I'm trying to be more active on Threads, so you can follow me there. You can also follow me at Romance Boulevard, all spelled out, on TikTok. Until the next one, bye!